Somewhere outside Hope Village, a cannibal is cornered and brought to the verge of death by two humans. They promise to let him go if he told them what they wanted to know, but it doesn't seem like they are going to keep their promise. The man shoots the cannibal with a gun equipped with a silencer, and then they head towards Hope Village to eliminate the yellow-eyed monster they've heard about. In the village, Chuckbuck is showing off her new stuffed teddy bear that she received as a gift to Hee-Ra. At first, she compliments its cuteness. However, when Chuckbuck reveals she got it from her parents for being a good girl, Hee-Ra immediately offers to make something better. Chuckbuck declines, saying she likes it, so Hee-Ra suggests naming it since Chuckbuck hasn't named the bear yet. Hee-Ra admits she's not good with names, but after some thought suggests So-Ah, meaning beauty and prosperity. Chuckbuck recalls hearing this name from Hee-Ra before and loves it, deciding to name the bear So-Ah. Hee-Ra tells her to take care of the bear as the name is precious to her. At that moment, young Hee rushes in, urging Hee-Ra to come with her as newcomers have arrived. Hee-Ra hesitates, mentioning they already have enough people, while Chuckbuck hopes the newcomers are nice. However, the situation seems serious as young Hee asks Hee-Ra to help her mom. The newcomers are having a loud conversation with young Ju inside a container. The man tells her he's impressed with her strength despite a handicap and encourages her to keep up the good work. Hee-Ra and Chuckbuck enter, and young Ju is relieved to see them, as now she doesn't have to strain her throat. Young Ju introduces them to Hee-Ra, the man, Chun-Bei-Ha, who can't hear well, necessitating loud conversations, practically screaming. With him is his daughter, Yu-Jung. Young Ju introduces Hee-Ra as the ultimate weapon of Hope Village and Chuckbuck as the little cutie. Hee-Ra notices Yu-Jung glaring at her and responds by glaring back, eventually asserting her dominance through superior intimidation skills, which scares Yu-Jung, making young Ju and Chuckbuck laugh. Chun-Bei asks the cutie on Hee-Ra's lap her name. She tells him, but he mishears it multiple times. Chuckbuck finally screams her name, and when Chun-Bei grabs Chuckbuck's hand, it agitates Hee-Ra, leading her to grab his collar. A note falls from his hand containing information about Chuckbuck and her mom, revealing that Hope Village is the cannibal's base. He apologizes and confirms that her finger is indeed blue, as he heard. He asks Hee-Ra about the existence of a yellow-eyed monster in the village, but Hee-Ra tells him to find out himself. Young Ju intervenes, reminding them there's a child in the room and urges everyone to calm down. Hee-Ra approaches him and inquires what he plans to do if he finds the monster. But before he can answer, Gamdol enters looking for Chuckbuck. Gamdol recognizes the newcomers, Yu-Jung and their master, expressing surprise at seeing them here and inquires about their visit.
Flashback!
There was a time when Gamdol was known as Woong Kim, the fiery bear. With his monstrous strength, he used to fight numerous people at once. He was the captain of his group, and everyone admired him, even though they were no more than a bunch of robbers fighting for territory and resources.
End of flashback!
Who knew that this fiery bear would start a family with a monster? This makes Chuckbuck angry, and she says that her mom is not a monster. So, he apologized to her, but his loud voice scared her. Yu-Jung punched him in the abdomen and shut him up. She asks Gamdol if he regrets being with a monster, and now they even have the cannibal tribe on their tail, so he has to protect his family as well. But Gamdol never regretted meeting his wife and being with her. 6 years ago, Yu-Jung noticed that Gamdol had been going alone somewhere secretly for some time. So one day, when he was trying to sneak somewhere, she asked him where he was going. But he lied and told her that he was going on a patrol around the area, double-checking that everything was all right. Then he ran off without giving any further explanation. Her father jokingly said that he might have a secret girlfriend, but for her, this was more than just a joke, as she has a thing for him. Near baby Chuckbuck and her mom, Gamdol was there to give her some supplies. It hadn't been that long since they met, so she was still on guard around him. Today he brought baby formula, clothes, and blankets. He put the things in the shade of the room, as she couldn't go in sunlight, and left after telling her to take care of her baby. He peeked at her from behind the wall to look at her reaction. Although she wasn't showing interest in the things he brought in front of him, As soon as he left, she picked them up, and you could practically see her eyes shine. This made him happy, and he decided to bring more things for her and her baby. So he started bringing her things every day, and they got closer while taking care of baby Chukbuk. Eventually, he started developing feelings for her, which started from him noticing her pretty eyes. They decided to name Chukbuk the next time they meet, and he left for today. But someone is watching all this happen, and it doesn't look like they have good intentions. The next day, on his way to her, he wondered what name they should give the kid. When he reached there, she was holding her sick baby and asked for his help. He ran towards his home to get some medicine. He condemned himself for not realizing it sooner that this is not a good environment to raise a baby, and if only he had brought some medicine sooner, this situation could have been avoided. But right now, he has to hurry and get some medicine. Someone attacks him, aiming for his head. If he had been a second late in avoiding it just now, his head would have been slashed open. He falls on his knees from the pain, and his vision is partially blocked because of the blood from the wound. Several people who are his enemies from before surround him. Their leader says he is disappointed that he couldn't dodge that, like he used to before. Their leader has a scar on his nose and is blind in his left eye because of an injury. He assures Gamdal that he is not here to harm him, but just to make a deal. If he brings all the weapons and supplies from his group, then he will spare him. But Gamdal says it's the opposite. He tells him to take his men and get lost, or he will kill them all. However, the one-eyed man is not here without a plan. His subordinates contact him through the walkie-talkie and tell him that they have captured the monster woman. With her as a hostage, he tells Gamdal to make a choice. From the noise coming from the walkie-talkie, they can hear everyone beating Gamdal, who can't fight back because they have her and her baby as hostages. 2 men and a woman are holding her. They tied her up and made sure to tie up her tentacle as well. She holds the baby in her hands and says they can make some serious money with the baby, and she is sure that they can raise her better than a monster. Then they hear someone's footsteps, and the 2 men get shot and die immediately. Their leader and everyone outside heard the gunshots coming from the direction of the hostages. He is confused as he didn't see Gamdal calling for backup. But now things are out of control, so he goes ahead to finish him with his sword. His walkie-talkie rings, and Yu Jung tells him to give the walkie-talkie to Gamdal if he doesn't want them coming there with guns. With no other option, he gives him the walkie-talkie. She says she is disappointed in him. What kind of captain goes to cuddle with a monster? Her father also knows about this, so this is the end. She tells him to give her the medicines and never see her again. But if he keeps seeing her, he can forget about coming home. She tells him to make a choice between his home and this monster. After thinking for a bit, he finally makes this difficult decision. He apologizes and says it's all his fault. This makes her happy that he chose them over this monster. Then he asks her to apologize to everyone else, as well as he is not fit to be a leader. This gives Yu Jung mixed feelings. Despite spending so much time with them and going through so much, he is leaving just like that. And that too for a monster. But it seems the man with her predicted this, and he tells her to follow the rules and let the people who decide to leave peacefully. Although she knows that, still, even though she loves him more, he is leaving her for this monster. He's an idiot. Even after all this beating and injuries he has suffered, he easily beats the people holding him. The leader says some crap, but it's not important, as he is just a side character. He punches him with a force that makes me question if he is still alive or not. Then he runs towards Chukbuk and her mom. After night falls, monsters flood the streets, so they find a safe place and fortify it. He tells her that he has thought of a name for her daughter. Chukbuk. This is a nickname that his mother gave him so that he could live in blessings. She likes the name, and they both decide to name her Chukbuk. But he still has more things to say to her. At first, it was just curiosity, but it's much more now. He wants to stay with her and Chukbuk. No matter what happens, he promises to stay with her. "So will you accept me as your husband?" he finally asks. And she said, "Yes." Back in the present, Yu Jung finds herself in serious trouble. She assures herself that she can handle it, having faced numerous hellish situations in the past. Her trouble is that for some reason, Chukbuk's mom is sniffing her. She recognizes her smell and feels like she has seen her before, but can't remember when and where. Chukbuk says her mom only sniffs suspicious people, so she must be suspicious. So she joins mom as well and starts sniffing her butt, as if she would find something by doing that. As for Yu Jung, she hopes that her dad and Gamdol hurry back. Meanwhile, Gamdol and his master are having a talk about the past. When Gamdol asks him why he is looking for the yellow-eyed monster, his anxiety grows when his master is unable to answer. He changes the subject and asks about how everyone else is doing. His son Chun-sik and Yu Jin, whom he loved just as much as his daughter, and everyone else. He already had an idea but still asked, and his master confirmed his suspicions. The yellow-eyed monster killed everyone. Although he has seen hell in this messed-up world, nothing comes close to that day. He could hear the sound of his family's flesh and bones being chewed down and their blood splashing. But all he could do was save his one daughter. Never before had he felt that helpless in his life. That day, Yu Jung and he decided that they were going to kill that monster, no matter what or how long it takes. Gamdol is also engulfed in rage. As if it wasn't enough for it to come after his family, it even killed his friends. He makes up his mind to find and kill the monster. But his master tells him that he won't need to look for it, as it will most likely be in this village right now, as it is after Chukbuk's mom, and it is confirmed by the head of this village. It lost its home and family, so it'll no longer sit back and watch. And so, it will go after the weakest target first, which is Chukbuk. However, Gamdol says they have found nothing suspicious for the last 2 months. His master tells him that he is dumb. Just because it hasn't shown itself in 2 months doesn't mean it isn't up to something. Short happiness will burn fast and turn to ashes. By the time you realize the danger, it will already be too late. So don't ever let your guard down. Be suspicious of everything. After all, a village where everyone thinks they are safe and has their guard down is the most dangerous place, he tells Gamdol. Then they hear the scream of a woman, indicating trouble. They go towards the direction the scream came from. As they arrive, they find a woman unconscious and a man lifting her up. Gamdol asks him what's going on, and the man explains that she suddenly collapsed, so he is carrying her to the infirmary, insisting that she needs immediate medical attention. However, Gamdol and his master notice signs of blood around his feet, along with scratches and signs of struggle on the woman's body. The man assures them he'll make sure she gets the necessary medical attention, but they know he's lying and can't act without evidence. Gamdol touches the woman, pretending to offer help, and notices that she's cold to the touch. Although he knows she's dead, it hasn't been long since she screamed, so her body shouldn't be so cold. The man, called Jin Su, tells Gamdol to remove his hands, accusing him of bullying. Gamdol complies, apologizing, and the man also apologizes for getting angry. Gamdol asks one last time to check if she's all right, pushing the man's patience to the limit. Everyone gets ready for a fight, but they halt when more people arrive at the scene. At that moment, the woman's fingers move, catching Chunbei's attention. Gamdol tells Jin Su that his stubbornness is making him appear suspicious, so he feels forced to check for himself. But before he can touch her, his master warns him not to go near her. The woman slaps his hands away, chastising him for touching her without permission. This surprises Gamdol, as he was convinced she was dead. Jin Su reiterates the need for her to see a doctor, and this time, Chunbei also urges them to go while apologizing for their misunderstanding. After they leave, Gamdol considers investigating further, but his master advises against going near that thing alone. Gamdol, being too close to her, hadn't seen it, but his master clearly saw her face at that moment and realized she was not human. Find out the identity and the plan of these people in the next part. Until then, click on this video.